Game number
Oh,
2.
wow.
Picks and bans already halfway through. FPX are going to be on the blue side this time, of course. Nico, that premier ban that we were talking about before with the Sejuani, as well as the Gwen now gone through. It is WE with the Rise, the Jhin, and the Jace. No jungle and support to be found just yet.
I'm very surprised that FPX managed to get away with this many amazing champions for themselves here. I mean, this composition right now is huge. You don't even really need too much extra damage coming through. You've got a lot. The Gwen pickup, getting yourself that Nico, you can tell how strong the Nico is in Jwei's hands because B1ing it, no other team really is going to be looking to B1 this pickup, but hey, why not?
Why not? You get multiple 5-man Pop Blossoms. You deserve that respect. It is going to be primary focus towards Monki, though, taking away his Skarner as well as the Viego. The Leona is locked in, so keeping counter pick for jungle just to make sure he can have the best choice possible available to him.
I was wondering if we might see a Yone. It's at least going to be hovered.
It's so easy, right?
Yeah, I mean, you've got yourself the kind of composition that you love. The Yone Sejuani is one of those combos that we've been seeing so much of. They grabbed the Draven, though, instead. Okay, Draven Nico, that's a very aggressive bot lane. You can make the life of your opponents kind of hellish in that bottom lane specifically. Yeah, and now you can grab yourself the Yone. This is an incredibly aggressive composition right here out of FPX. WE, all of a sudden, they've got themselves a slightly more standard front-to-back comp.
Can we just, like, go to game 3 already? Like, I don't... That's a Zodia right now for FPX. Like, the powerhouse of a draft right now is so hard to overcome. I'm looking at WE, and I'm wondering, can they utilize it? Look at... Oh, Monkey's feeling confident there as he locks at the Zen. Look at him, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. I take back everything I just said. Don't go to game 3. I want to see how game 2 pans out. Monki, confident as hell right there, saying, lock me in that Zen.
So we've been given the sickest draft I think I've seen all year from two different squads at the moment. My question right now for Monki is, who is it that you're gonna go and assassinate right now?
Right.
Because, like, surely the Draven's the primary target, but I don't even know that the Draven's gonna be doing the most damage in this game.
That's the most difficult part. Who can you take down? Because there's not easy options there. And as one thing we know, not only is Shadow very aggressive as a jungler, the Sejuani can be very skirmish heavy. And I don't think you're going to like being kind of pushed into your own jungle as the Zed. But game 2 nonetheless, where FPX got a very superstar draft. They have all the right pieces in the current meta. They somehow got the Gwen with the Sejuani and the Yone. They're going with Assume on this Draven. That's really the only wild card in the situation. But to come off of that first game and now go with this more standardized composition feels like they're trying to right the wrongs.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you could pick up all of these incredibly strong champions, why not go try be aggressive with it? FPX, they kind of got bullied around in the early stage of the game in the previous one, so they're looking to correct that mistake right here, and oh boy, what a way to do it.
What a way indeed. Monki in his first real long split, at least here, after his time on EDG with Vampire.
Yep.
Now coming here, willing to take the Zed. It was the final pick. You saw it in the camera. He was confident as hell with this one, but now he's got to live up to that moniker. He's got to be a little bit crazy with it. As we're getting into game number 2, FPX, definitely the favorite in the competition, but we'll see what WE have in store for us. Both teams on a massive win streak. So you can carry that forward.
And as much as the better champions overall are on FPX, that's not to say that WE haven't also got themselves some heavy hitters right here. The Jace been incredibly strong recently, and the Rise 2 has been increasing in priority for good reason. This champion, when used effectively, when used proactively, most specifically, is so good at being able to get yourselves into good spots across the map and just make it so your opponents are always uncomfortable when trying to step to these objectives or push onto towers.
And I'm just going to say, this is definitely a diversion of WE's norms. I mean, I know we have seen the Jhin from Taeyoon. He's a pretty damn good Jhin. We have seen some more utility picks from him. But they're definitely putting him on the back foot in a carry role. They're adjusting that over to Monki and over to these solo lanes to really be that big influence for Team WE.
It's a big departure in lots of ways, exactly as you're saying, right? This is not the team where we're looking at the solo lanes. That's FPX. It's much more been about Taeyoon and what Monki can do to be proactive for his team, but not necessarily the main carry in terms of damage. Very different from what the Zed is wanting to do. The fact that this is a slightly more standard front-to-back style of composition with the added spice of the Zed is just very interesting, very different from what we've been seeing previously. Nice pathing right here from
That's
Monki.
it. That was one of my first series I ever casted in the LPL, by the way.
Yeah?
In my first real long split, and my first like setup split in the LPL was that series, and it made me fall in love with Aki, as he was the only guy whipping out the Zed jungle, and now all those years later, Monki coming in his big split debut with, or at least big year debut with WE. Going to be trying to take this one again. Not the matchup I would expect to take the Zed into, but we'll see if it actually pays out. Shadow hovering around mid lane as first paths will be cleared out by both junglers.
This is really interesting pathing right here from Monki. Takes his own Raptors, his opponent's Blue and Gromp, and then recalls his way back onto the rest of the map with a longsword to go clear the rest of his top side. And there's no recognition here from Shadow. He's going to arrive at his blue buff, realize that he's not able to pick up these next couple of camps. He doesn't really have lanes in good spots to be able to gank right here either, and I don't know if he's going to be in a position to try to counter jungle onto his opponent's bot side. This is great pathing here, as long as Cube respects this and doesn't die to the gank.
That's the big question mark. Is Shadow coming to knock on the door, see if he's going to be able to blow the house down here, as Piggy Duty has been initiated.
Oh, he sees him.
Shadow seen. Oh, that was so clutch. Cube just barely able to get the vision there. And will just be the trade of scuttles. I do wonder, though, is Monki willing to go for the trade here? Trying to go for the aggressive stance with Karis moving over onto Care. Realm Prison locked down. Monki waiting over the edge just in case Care wants to go back. Monki really needs to find impact, and here you go. Care took the bait. The flash comes out from both of them. Monki gonna be down that one. That is huge, but Care absolutely revisited to here shortly.
And the thing is, even though you don't manage to pick up any of the kills or anything right here, this is still absolutely perfect for Monki, because he's now able to take the second respawn of his Raptors and still has the full bot side and bot side scuttle grab of his jungle available to him. He's managed to, just through clever pathing right here, put himself into a really big advantage, which is something you absolutely have to have on these assassin junglers.
You absolutely do. You need to keep tempo as well. I also give a little side shout out to this bot lane as Assume on a very, very comfortable pick for himself into the Jhin. They did grab this one to give Assume some pull, and it is his third most played pick in his career. So definitely realizing that they just want to go full pedal to the metal with this composition and give everybody the tools to be a carry.
You do not want to lose this one. 3-game winning streak up against some great opponents, taking a win up against JDG, and then losing 0-2 to WE. It snaps like momentum in half. It throws up questions we thought we'd already been able to answer about this team. And so going for these comfort picks, for these very aggressive pickups right here for FPX, I can understand why they've done it, but it is risky and they're really going to need to pay it back.
WE looking at bot lane. Monki is around the corner. Assume not needing to step up there. Needs to be a little bit careful. They're going to catch them on the back. This is greedy, as Monki is seen on the bot side. Just going to go for some poke onto Assume. Wonder if they do want to leave this into the dragon take. Again, the Zed jungle trying to keep tempo here, keep advantage. Definitely want to get those item spikes coming through for this very heavy assassin jungle.
This is just going to be the Drake started up right here by WE. Again, looking to get aggressive onto this one nice and early on. We saw it from FPX in the previous game. Monki now going to be doing this one before we see the grubs fully spawn. So if you do want to respond to it, you can potentially, at the same time as Monki, you can just kind of stick around in this bottom side of the map. Yeah, you give up 3 grubs. Not the end of the world as long as you can compete for the next set. But make this bot lane, what should be an aggressive bot lane, uncomfortable.
Oh, the flash play. Really good block from Jwei, though, actually, in the end. And now Vampire. Looking to go down. Cha-ching! Assume gets the cash in. Looking for another. Gets a double. looking for a triple, not going to be able to get it, but it's Assume on his premier Draven. Going to come out big on the bot lane for FPX.
There we go, cashing in a couple of them stacks. Now going to get back out from base with a huge amount of items, actually, for this point in the game. Ooh, decides to swap out for a VF Sword, fair enough. It's over-aggressive. The flash E just doesn't hit onto who you need to, and this whole time, Assume's free hitting. He doesn't stop auto-attacking onto Vampire and then Monki the entirety of this play.
Oh, we look in the picture-in-picture, though, and a big pick has come down onto Shadow now. That'll be a big moment for WE to kind of get some of that lacking nature of that bot lane play back.
Exactly. If you can play onto the rest of the map right here, not going to be the end of the world, you know. Getting your Zed ahead is a great way to stop the Draven later on. Sheer now going to be the focus of Vampire. I mean, he's going to take a little bit of damage here, but doesn't even get accelerated shock blasted. I mean, nothing really happening on that one.
We're going to take a look at exactly how that happened. A nice Realm Warp coming in and locking off, but Vampire realizes...
No.
Yeah, that dashed a little bit fortunate. Yep. That's going to feel bad. Now Monki going mid, perfectly timed. Goes with the mark for death. Is it going to be enough? The pop is not. Care survives.
So close. Later on in the game, that one would have been a kill. Instead, just going to be a little bit more time spent. You managed to get the ulti out of Care, but he didn't even have the flash. Was still able to survive. You're going to be happy with that one as FPX, as this game has been just as explosive as you would hope from these compositions.
Yeah, and from these teams, honestly, we talked about how contentious this series can be between them. Both finding those early machinations for themselves, and I'm just thinking now that FPX feeling very confident and comfortable going into this kind of mid-game setup further on. There is the next spawn of grubs in about 2 minutes. Will be grub again for them if they're able to get that one, but is there a moment that this is okay for WE, or do you feel like it's just really hard to deal with if time continues to flow like this for FPX?
If things continue on exactly as they are, it's pretty rough, right? You've got that early game power that the Draven's already exhibiting that doesn't really fall off until we're quite a lot later on into this game. You've got a composition right here from WE where the majority of these champions need quite a while to be able to get their kills. Yeah, Monki can one-tap somebody, and that's what you're really relying on at this point, but everybody else needs a couple of rotations of their spells to really be able to deal that damage, and I just don't know that you're going to be able to do that here as WE, as the team that really has been trying to rely on their early game power to pull them through into the later stages. So right now, I think WE, they're going to need to change something up. They've got a couple of objectives spawning.
Oh, he's going full in on the Care. Going to dodge out, but still falling. The kill goes to Vampire, though, and that's unfortunate there for WE. They really would have liked that gold onto Monki. But they still do get the pick before the grub fight. Care will be up and has TP available to come back to it. Bot lane play. Assume unsuspecting Karis right here to lock him down, but he might just want to take that fight. Deadly Flare is going to be popped out of Vampire. Looking for the CC chain. The Whirling Death not going to connect. Vampire's under turret. They can't get him. Step to Assume, and you better not miss.
Oh, Assume right now is sick with it. Just able to use the fancy feet to get away. Now we're going to look for a play up topside onto Cube. Sheer, though, actually takes a huge chunk of damage back.
Gonna look for him, though. Tangle Barb connects, and that might be a little trouble for Cube. TP is going to come from both sides. Cube just trying to get out of this one, but Pop Blossom will lock him down long enough to take him down. Now the turret is going to be ramping up. They got to be careful. Karis can really outplay them here. Another shot is going to go through. Not going to get the kill just yet, but Sheer's going to fall, and Karis gets the outplay in a 1v4, baby. And now Vampire's coming over to try to stop the rest of these backs going through, but a beautiful play from Karis.
Alright, Ramping makes that play so easy, and they can actually continue this one on WE, continue to step up. They're just going to be able to take a huge chunk out of Care. Oh, he doesn't even get him! What? Karis!
Care looking up, saying, Riot, what is happening right now as he goes down? And Karis is still kicking. This Rise starting to get the payoff as grubs have spawned. Shadow is right here, but Monki right with the side of Vampire to come at this one. Oh, Leona not able to hit really anything. Deadly Flare says connect, though, and they take that Assume. That's the big target you wanted. You don't want the Draven to function. And now they get another kill onto Monki.
What was that pathing from Assume? You
Little
are
tough,
a
little tough for sure.
Draven. You cannot be stepping up in that situation right there. Gets taken out. Deadly Flourish, more than enough to keep him locked down. Throughout all of this, the grubs still have not fallen. Monki
He
desperately
just
trying to
started
pick
it.
these up. Yeah.
He's by himself. Literally just started it up. Is looking to go down. The death mark has been popped. Permafrost into the glacial prison. And he will also end up giving over the grubs. That's grub again to FPX, and that feels real bad.
It feels real bad because look at the composition you've now got 6 grubs onto right here for FPX. Gwen, Yone, those champions can melt through towers on the side lane. Specifically, the Gwen loves picking up all 6 of the grubs. It turns her from a side lane menace into a problem that you simply cannot ignore. So we have a look back at this one. Jwei using his signature Nico very effectively to be able to pick up that first kill, but look at the turret shots that end up happening here. Again.
The fact that Shadow
again,
almost goes down too.
Again, Shadow so nearly dies. Sheer does die. And Karis gets more. Hang on, we're going again.
They got to catch. They got to pick. Maybe Vampire getting locked down himself, though. Stand aside. Gonna be there. Pop Blossom right back. But look at Karis. He's on the back line. Gonna miss the first one. But WE, they might have just found the fight they were looking for. Karis going down low, and there he goes. Sheer trying to snip away at the lives of WE. Monki trying to dodge away. Gets the shield. Gets alive. And WE. This is magical from this team. Monki on this Zed said, pick me it and I will find it. And they are beautifully putting it together here in game 2.
And the Pantheon, such a good look. Now the Zed. Monki has really been able to find his footing across the course of the last couple of games. The only saving grace is that Kerr was able to pick up a couple of turret plates in the top side, does manage to use those 6 grubs to his advantage, but it's nothing too much to worry about at this point for WE. We'll have a look back at what ended up happening. So the Drake gets started up and taken here for FPX, but they try to go for this re-engage. They don't want to just leave Jwei to die. Assume, again, odd positioning means he's not really able to just sit and deal his damage. Like I said, Karis did miss a couple of his abilities. Not ideal, but still is dealing more than enough damage. At this point, Sheer, I mean, yeah, Gwen is strong. One of those premier picks, like we've been saying, but in and amongst 3 members, really just not going to be able to put it together.
Actually, so crazy. The line that WE are towing right now, it's definitely double-edged, but they are doing so wonderfully. And you know, to come from not only the come up that we've seen of Monki and Vampire in that Weibo gaming series, the EDG brotherhood, but it feels like Monki's finally getting a shot to show off his stuff. I know it was very troubled time on EDG with all the fluctuations on that team, but he was an extremely lauded and looked after prospect coming out of the LDL. And getting to show his nature off just like this, showing that kind of carry style in 2 games in a row is very nice. But FPX, again, they put together a Wonder Star comp here, something that teams dream of in the current meta. And it's all about WE continuing to push the pace of the game. Going to dodge out of the ult is Cube, but Cube is still in a 1v3. Lockdown, CC chained, and Jwei will take the kill.
There we go. Jwei picking that one up. Not ideal, but it is at least going to be a kill. You can get good tower pressure in this bottom side as well. We've got less than a minute now until the next Herald is going to be up and available. See if WE want to try to play around this one. I feel like at this point, WE, they just want to keep the tempo high. Usually, when you look at this kind of composition between a Ryze and a Jhin, you'd think they'd want to wait a lot later on into the game, but into FPX's composition really can't afford to sit around, and they've done such a good job of getting themselves into an advantage at this point that with their item breakpoints very close on the horizon, just keep the pressure up.
That will be feats of strength secured by FPX with the first tower take by Sheer in that bot lane. It will be the trade back immediately by WE, but still a little advantage to the side of FPX, even though they're down about 1,000 gold now as well. That is the state that WE need to be in. They need to be in an advantage here. We are on first items. We are getting close to second item, and Rift Herald is coming up now.
Kerr actually hasn't got that first completed item yet, still waiting to be able to find the board. Such a huge spike for this champion. Sure he'll have it soon, but yeah, not really been the ideal early game so far. We'll have to see if this premier combo between the Sejuani and the Yone is really going to pop off here for FPX. because despite the fact that the gold is pretty much even at this point in the game, it very much feels like FPX are on the back foot at the moment. And that's mainly because WE have just been more proactive than them.
And they do have some leads to speak of. I mean, you have a little bit of a CS differential, and top lane, in mid lane, it's a bit of a bigger one, about 30, 40 CS.
Yeah.
But bot lane, it's all about the kills for Taeyoon. And even in a situation, even in a comp where Taeyoon isn't the main carry, he finds a way to be that. And now they've started up Rift Herald. Item is completed for Care. Now he has that Bork. Maybe trying to find that big influence, but now he gets caught. Okay. Gonna have to burn the flash immediately as he comes there, but that is tough. As WE now have to recenter focus around this Rift Herald. They're gonna try to catch out Vampire. They do end up getting the flash there, so flash is burned on either side. Monki always looking for his entrance. The death mark is the important factor here as Solar Flare comes in. They get the flank from Cube. FPX feeling a little bit more wary to approach this fight. Rift Herald about half health here now as well. Care gonna have to get that Soul Unbound back to his body. And it's FPX to take primary position.
All of this is happening right now. Karis is just farming in the top lane. He's just getting a push going for his team. Now he's going to think about rejoining. The Rift Herald did end up resetting. Got a couple key ultis down too. Vampire steps up. Care. Oh no.
The deadly flourish from afar though as the lockdown comes through. Fate sealed force, but now WE, they have to turn back onto the 1v3. At least now Vampire completely left on his lonesome is going to go down. Shadow looking for the angle as he now finds himself out caught as Taeyoon not going to hit the deadly flourish there. The Whirling Death did get used by Assume, but it will be the pick off onto Vampire.
One pick onto the support for WE, and nobody gets the Rift Herald in the end of that one. We've now also got a Drake available too, so a couple different objectives for both of these teams to go look for. And what a mess that was. Nobody could quite find that engage that they were really looking for. A couple of deadly flourishes hit that nearly turn into picks. And Shadow, he was playing on a knife's edge throughout that one. Yes, you're quite tanky at this point in the game with the Heartsteel, but you're not that tanky. You can still absolutely be taken down, and it felt like he was constantly in and amongst all of the members of WE, skating the edge.
Both teams now redeploying towards the bot side of the map, over towards the Dragon setup. See if they want to take that step forward. Would be second Dragon for either side on their way to a Ocean Soul. I think will benefit both teams as well. Karis has hit second item now. And has the evolution on the Seraphs too, so he is definitely going to be a scary member now on the Rise.
And the Rise gets to this point and all of a sudden turns from a champion that kind of tickles to a champion that just slams you with damage. And let's see what happens with the Realm Warps as well, because so many Rises at the moment just are not proactive with the Realm Warps. You kind of only see it defensively. We might see it defensively right here, depending on what Karis wants to do. I don't know that he knows he's in as much threat as he is right now.
Yeah, nobody's coming to save him. They're walking down the lane. TP's going to come in now as well. There'll be Cube coming to join. Karis feeling very confident to step forward, but he might have overstayed his welcome. They go straight on the Cube.
No.
The Karis is too hard to kill. We're going to try to kill Cube. Shadow gets sniped from Taeyoon. The deadly flourish from afar, but now it's Sheer cutting down the back line as well as FPX have pried apart the sides of WE. Monki is on the wrong side of things now. Deadly flourish not going to hit, but the curtain call is going to be unleashed. Monki is surrounded as he goes for his Shadow clone. Vampire goes in at the same time, maybe not expecting that one, and he will give his life for nothing as Rift Herald should be the focus for FPX.
Yeah, potentially over-aggressive right there out of WE on attempting to turn that play around. They could have pushed through other lanes, potentially grabbed themselves the Drake in the bottom side of the map. Kind of done anything else. Instead, really do just step up in this situation. Now watch the Seraphs right here. We just talked about it being completed. Well, the Seraphs is what keeps Karis alive for so long in this fight to be able to do that extra damage. Huge shield coming through. He's not quite able to get that initial bit of damage, kill Shadow, and then get away. And the second Sheer arrives, he's just going to get taken out. But it's this point, right, where you just need to run away. Monki can try do his exciting things on the Zed somewhere else. There's no reason for Vampire to go flying in right here, Tilly.
Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication between the EDG bros there. As we can see, Monkey's like, oh god.
Okay, bye, buddy.
I was getting out, bro. I was leaving. I was out of there. As now WE redeploy, they get the Solar Flare play a lot of spells going wide for WE so far. I mean, you looked in that last fight, Karis missing multiple combinations, and now this failed play in mid lane from WE. Things are starting to fall apart a little bit for them. They do get second item there for Taeyoon, as well as Monki now. Rift Herald restarted up by FPX.
Finally, almost a full 7 minutes after the initial play that we go for around this Rift Herald, now it's going to get grabbed. FPX going to be happy with that one. Still though, gold incredibly even, and as much as it feels like WE are missing quite a lot of their spells, Taeyoon 5-0-3 right now, 2 completed items, is going to be hitting pretty hard at the moment. Especially with that Lord Dom's, not going to be worried so much about having to get through Shadow either. WE, they at least get to respond to this Rift Herald play with a Drake of their own.
Ooh, it's going to be the Atacon by FPX, though. Really well timed by them, and it just seems like WE caught slacking just a little wee bit, as it will be that trade of objective. Second Dragon did go the way of WE there, but this isn't a position where you want to be even, and that's what we've kind of tried to harp on the entirety of it for WE. Is you need to be ahead with this composition. Yes, you have some scaling options for yourself, but my God, you're looking at FPX Teamfight comp that when they get 3 items, it is so hard to even pick apart one member.
You can already see the amount of damage that the Needlework and Snip Snip is doing for Sheer, and that's at this point where he's only just completed his second item. The more and more items you get on top of this Gwen, the harder this is going to be to play out. The 1-3-1 also very strong as an option here for FPX. You send the Gwen and the Yone into separate lanes with 6 grubs in their back pockets too, and you're just going to be pulling WE around the map.
And that's not a state you want to be in as WE. You need to find centered fights and have Monki at the forefront of that damage. You have a lot of follow-up from Taeyoon, but he needs to have the kind of tee-off from Karis, from Monki, from Cube. Vampire also trying to clean things up a little bit for his own right. Still a very even game state. It is going to be mid lane as the defensive nature from both sides. Still the outer turrets are there. And that's a little bit of a wild fact, but they're going to be tussling over that one for the next while.
The fact that we've got all of the outer turrets taken from the side lanes, but mid lane towers still up and available.
Here they go.
Wait.
Monki find a play on the care. They've got to do something here. The death mark's going to be popped instantly. Glacial prisoned. And Monki sniped from afar by Assume. WE aren't the only ones with the sniper on the map. And it's FPX taking advantage of the play that WE wanted. It's starting to feel a little bit doomed for Karis in the side lane. He's trying to get away from this one, but Sheer tagged him with the needlework, and that'll be quick workings as FPX pick 2 in the side lane. Maybe even looking to pick 3 as they look for mid lane. Vampire going to get caught a bit there, but FPX, they do make a little bit of a market increase in their gold lead.
Indeed, you can see right here, Assume also just have to step up. Cube goes in though.
Okay, Cube getting chunked now as well. Doesn't realize how much damage Assume does with the Lord Doms now too. Vampire has to back away, and that second item is hurting. Deadly Flourish not going to be used, but the Curtain Call will be. Sheer there to try to block any damage onto this combo of Jwei. He will end up using the Rift Herald to make his escape. The taxi cab of FPX is alive and well.
Yeah, FPX very much not looking to lose this game. Getting 2-0'd by WE, snapping that win streak in half would not be ideal. And with this wild composition where they get a ton of the best-in-class champions, so far, so good. Yeah, it's a little bit rough during the early stages, but that's always to be expected with this kind of composition. You've got a good couple kills onto your Draven, what you needed bot lane, and for the rest of the map, it was all about scaling up, getting into a good spot. Right now, Sheer and Assume in very good positions. The only problem at the moment has been Care. He's kind of been getting chased around in these team fights, not quite able to land the combos as you need to.
And I hate to talk about the cool pick, the fun pick, but the Zed is going to be markedly useless in the foreseeable future.
Yes.
I think the only person he can really pop is maybe Jwei, maybe Assume, but even then, you're going really deep for that. Yeah. He's going to try to get some damage on the Care, but it just feels really bad as a Zed if you aren't finding those poppable targets, and it's going to be really hard once FPX just fully pull 5 into these fights because they have such strong team fighting antics.
Especially into a Sejuani, who is always going to be useful, has so much CC that you can lay down, and has a ton of melee champions in order to be able to do that too. Care Karis just gonna go toe-to-toe. Once again, just not coming out on top of these ones at the moment. It very much feels like at the moment, Care is just going to have to be an ult bot and help out with the permafrost stacking for Shadow. But that's fine, because you've got other carries in this game who can step up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sheer is on 3 items now on the Gwen, which is feeling really good.
Yep.
The Zanya is going to provide so much sustainability in these fights, but there's a reason why Gwen has such a ridiculous win rate, but also is literally banned like almost every game of competitive play. And again, you always scratch your head going back to that draft and wondering how FPX got all these massive power picks. And the WE plan slowly but steadily petering out.
It's been banned in something like 80 games or something throughout the entirety of this split 2 so far, for good reason. You really just don't want to see it in the majority of your games. Now, potential catch here. They're just going to put Monki in the bounce house and take him out.
Unfortunately, no matter how much confidence you have in yourself, it all comes down if you can deliver. Even if you say, pick me that last pick Zed, unfortunately it comes back to bite you in this truly competitive setting. And WE starting to lose that hope in game number 2. We're looking like we might be going to a game 3 as the Baron is going to be taken down by FPX.
FPX fighting their way back into this series. Yeah, you end up losing the Drake, but not going to be unhappy with this trade whatsoever. It's actually been a really interesting game so far, where we haven't seen a ton of straight-up 5v5 team fights. We had a couple a little while ago around the Herald, but since then, things have really slowed down, and that very much is to the benefit at the moment of FPX. WE, Taeyoon, Karis, they kind of need these team fights to be able to do their thing, unless, of course, you can try to find these proactive, aggressive realm warps from Karis, but we just haven't seen any of those, not in a long time.
And unfortunately, the guy that wins you games in Taeyoon is on a Jhin, and I'll say as a lover of Jhin, he is not the hyper carry that a Draven is.
Nope.
So you definitely putting, again, I'm called it from the draft, putting Taeyoon, the guy that literally wins you like 90% of your games on the Jhin, definitely putting him on the back foot. But I do still like that they tried this, and we still have a lot of game left to go. But it's just giving Monki a lot of onus, giving him a lot of praise, giving him a lot of respect as Realm Warp from Vampire in there. Pop loss 1 of 2. We've seen these plays before. Although WE might have an angle, Monki trying to find his way in there, but it's just going to be soloed out, taken down. Nobody has fallen from the side of FPX so far, and it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. Taeyoon, the last one standing, and this should just be the push into the base with Grub again.
There we go, this is what we wanted to see from FPX. We were surprised by how little they were able to get done in the previous game, but this one, looking great. Assume just going to flash forwards, he's going to pick up that kill. Taeyoon goes down, and the Nexus will be soon to follow.
There you go, Assume. Stretch your stuff on your Draven, and it was a tried and true victory for FPX. They go with the meta, it works out for them, and now we get to go to 3 games.
This is exactly what we wanted from this series. It was so hype on paper. Teams who were doing so badly at the start of the year begin to get those win streaks going. 3-game win streak for FPX. 2-game win streak here for WE. Looking good, looking nice. And this one going to 3 games, everything riding on this 3rd one.
And I just I love the Zed pick, man. I love it so much. But it's got to be into a better situation.
Yeah.
It can't literally be into Exodia of the current meta. And I think that'll be something they definitely look back to. But I still do appreciate that we got that version of WE. And I think it was props to FPX for dealing with that kind of fluctuation and being able to kind of send that one home in very strong fashion.
Exactly. The way that they were able to play out the composition, if you lose with this comp, I mean, you cannot do that. You cannot get almost every single one of the best-in-class pickups for your lanes and then lose that one. And the Zed pick, it felt a little bit like desperation, like, hey, if we can get a great early game lead, wonderful, because otherwise we've kind of thrown this late game, despite the fact we've got a Ryze and a Jhin. But those 2 champions want slower gameplay. They want to have space bought for them in front. Jhin needs 2-3 rotations of his auto attacks through, then you pop the ulti to be able to finish off those targets. If you can't do that, Jhin really doesn't give you too much as a composition, and when your jungler has gone flying into the backline on Zed, immediately died, well, there's no way you can sit there and auto attack.
Yeah, there isn't. And again, leaning away from what has worked for them in the past, making them go all the way the distance with FPX, where after that game, what we were wondering, is WE just going to take a 2-0 here? But obviously not the case here in the LPL. You can't ever have that. And it will absolutely be a change of that position from WE's side of things. And give Taeyoon something that gives him damage. Give Taeyoon something that will carry, because this is just further case in point that it is the Taeyoon show, and nobody else can find the carry potential there.
Yeah.
Even though we've seen some of those brighter moments from a couple of the other positions.
Yeah, I mean, right. Kai'Sa, good, happy. Jin, not happy. Not in this composition, not into this composition that we saw. Now you've had quite a lot of these interesting pickups in the ADC role gone. The Draven, the Kai'Sa gone. Those are the most exciting pickups, other than maybe the Lucian still left available. You've still got your more standard pickups, like the Ashe available, or the hyperscaling carries, the Tristanas, the Aphelioses, the Jinxes. All of those are still up and available. We'll have to see what the decision-making is going to be, because you can see it right here in this game. Monki does a decent amount of damage in this game, but you really have to be doing almost twice that to be able to make the Zed jungle work effectively.
It is wild that Taeyoon did almost as much damage as Assume did on a Jin. Those numbers never get that high for Jin in a normal case, but a little bit representative of what he was doing for the team.
Yeah.
Even in a case when he is on the back foot. But it really is more props to FPX finally putting it together. I think Care definitely was on the back foot of that one, but Assume picked up the slack where it was needed. Sheer was a consistent force on the Gwen, and if you get this Gwen pick, you absolutely have to deliver.
And he did. He was able to pay it back in a really great way. You could see once that second item had come through, he was hitting like a truck and was just buying so much space, using the Gwen as immune to be able to step up in a lot of situations that you otherwise would be a bit worried to do. But this game was crazy from the very start to the very finish, right? In fact, you get that step-up performance right there where you're like, hey, as Assume, I can play this. I can get those kills on Draven. That's nice. He then makes quite a few mispositioning errors throughout the later stages. And I feel like another thing that we do need to talk about, as unfortunate as it is, missed skill shots was a big part of this game right here. It's rough. You can miss skill shots and win games up against WE or FPX, but you try that up against a top esports and they will rip your head off. You cannot be missing stuff like this.
And a lot of moments that maybe made it a little bit easier if they are able to hit those. I look at that mid lane play as well, the attempted play, at least fast play in the mid lane with the solar flare, things like that just didn't go right for them. And moments like this where it's just like little minute miscommunications. Unfortunately, Vampire given his life there. Only one way in is the Leona, and the Vampires, they don't like sunlight, and unfortunately he chose literally the embodiment of sunlight in the League of Legends universe.
Yeah, not quite ideal. That was a little bit of a show of the Vampire we'd hoped to have stepped beyond at this point. Hey, he looked good in game number 1. I'm not saying he's returned back to that very questionable form we had at the end of the placements into the start of this split, but obviously we will have to wait and see. In terms of MVPs, I really don't know. There are a lot of great performances here. I mean, Assume looked great at the very start, but then, kinda ended it in a couple of those fights, was not positioning very well. Care never really got ahead. Jwei, he set the bar way too high with those awesome ultis we saw previously. I think I'd have to give it to Sheer in this situation.
Ooh, Sheer with the pickup. That'd be interesting for sure. I am a little bit torn. I don't think Jwei had the big impact on the Nico that maybe he wanted, but he did have a couple of big ultimates. I would have to go between Assume and Sheer.
Yeah.
I think Assume on his Draven deserves a special shout out, especially for that early play, taking advantage of kind of the overextension from Vampire. Was really, really nice and led out to a massive lead for him.
I'm not mad about it if it goes to Assume. That early play and then the lasting image that we get of the entire game is him flashing forwards, picking up the kill onto Taeyoon. That was sick. It really does stick in the mind, and I always love seeing the Draven. I'm so happy that the Draven is this sort of niche pick, but something we're seeing relatively often, you know? When it's a good situation, when you've got a lot of aggression and you just need that little bit of extra spice during the early game to try play around, it's just such a nice pickup, and Assume really did pilot it very well. It's just a couple mispositioning errors that are souring it for me.
It's taking the place of the Callista that now Callista's
Yes.
banned like every single game. You need some kind of strong 2v2. Misfortune also banned almost every game when it gets to the second half of things. So just trying to find another in of an aggressive 2v2 for a lot of our aggressive bot lanes in the LPL itself. But hopefully we'll be getting to MVP here rather shortly and figuring out who exactly gets that accolade going into this game number 3 as well. A really needed bounce back from FPX.
Yes, FPX could not afford to lose that one. They are hunting for getting back to 500, putting themselves at the even mark. If they manage that, if they're then sat at 4-on-4, they are genuinely in a pretty good spot to be able to start a climb. I don't know necessarily that they're going to be able to break the top 4, but getting yourself that 5th, 6th kind of position, I think that's actually an achievable goal for them, as long as they don't falter right here up against WE. For WE, they've obviously played so many games at this point. This is the last of their first round robin pickups, and to be able to have a 3-game win streak off the back of that, yeah, you're still quite a ways away from putting yourself to 500, but it's a much better start, and at least you're then able to step into that second round robin going, hey, whatever happened back there, who cares? Now we're looking good.
Exactly.
Jwei?
It's Jwei. Okay.
I'm
Had a
surprised.
couple big pop blossoms, but
Yeah.
you know, that's all that really matters.
Hey, I'm happy with that one. I just think Jwei's set the bar for me where it's always 4-man, 5-man pop blossoms on this champion. That the fact he just had a great performance rather than a perfect one, it's just not the one I was expecting to be picked up here. But still, as much as we're talking about how good Assume was, in all of these moments where we're looking at Assume popping off, Jwei was there helping out, finding a ton of those stuns to just allow him to do his thing.
Exactly. Being able to kind of efficiently execute was really nice to see. And that pick not going to be available for the rest of the series here, but at least they got the win on it. It will be the Exodia comp winning out for FPX, tying up the series at least 1-1. And one of these teams on the other side of this break will continue their big win streak. The other will be stopped straight in their path. We will be back after a short little break. We'll get